Hey friends, hope you're having a great week so far. Let's talk about math. You should have read over your lesson problem set 117 and done those practice problems about mass and weight, and then done lesson 117 odds. If you came across any problems that you just really got stuck on or are not certain about or really have some questions about the lesson itself, let's plan, and this is on your assignment sheet, but let's plan to do a Google Meet at 10 o'clock on Thursday morning. And I'll put the link on my elementary page. And that's for you to come to me about any kind of questions that you have about yesterday's math lesson or today's math lesson. And also, I'll have some English things I want you to come to that meeting prepared to either answer or to discuss. It's optional. You don't have to be a part of that Google Live, but if you can make it, I think it'll be great, and it'll just help us stay connected and also give you time to ask any questions that you have, okay? All right, so problem set 118. You need to find your notes that look like this, okay? And get you a pencil. If you need to pause the video for a few minutes, get a pencil, get ready to go. But you should be ready if you followed the instructions on your assignment sheet. So let's do it. I'll plug Dobby in, and next time in just a second, we'll be looking at the notes. All right, see ya.
All right, let's get to it. Problem set 118, finding a percent. So we could choose to name part of a group as a fraction or as a percent. And when we look at these gumballs, this whole lesson theme is gumballs. Also, really quick, I want to note that I know that my words don't always line up with how I'm writing. It's just because it's a little laggy when I use this document camera. So when you look at these 8 gumballs, you can see that 4 out of the 8 are shaded, right? So we could write that as a fraction, 4/8. We also know that 4/8 is the same as 1/2. And if we were going to name these 4 shaded gumballs, 4 out of 8 gumballs, we would say that what percent is shaded? Well, half is the same as 50%. So that's a little review on percentages. Let's look at the next example problem. Our gumballs here. So again, we have we've got some gumballs, we've got some that are shaded and some that aren't. The question is, 6 of the 10 circles are shaded, or 6 of the 10 gumballs are shaded. 6 is what percent of 10? And when we're working with tens, it's helpful. It's kind of a little bit easy, but so when we look at, so we're going to do our fractions. 6 are shaded, 6 out of 10. And of course this can be reduced to 3/5 because 2 goes into 6 3 times, 2 goes into 10 5 times. Well, I can take either one of these fractions. I can take the reduced or I can take the unreduced fraction, and it's going to give me the same answer. So for this one, I'm going to take 6/10. And to turn our fraction into a percent, we are going to multiply by 100% over 1. I'm going to give you just a second to catch up. If you haven't filled in these boxes, go ahead and do that. I want you to be taking notes. As I write, you write. So 6/10 times 100, and I could work that out right now. I could say 600 over 10 and then reduce, but I'm going to reduce before I multiply. When we do that, we do this, the bottom and the top over here. 10 goes into 10 one time, 10 goes into 100 10 times. That just saves me a little bit of a step later. 6 times 10 is 60, and what we have down here is just 1, so we're just going to leave it at 60%. So 6 out of 10, what percent is 6 out of 10? It's 60%. Right, you guys see that? And you know how Saxon is. They start easy and then boom, they hit you with a hard one in the problem set. So this one was maybe a little bit on the easier side because we were dealing with a number out of 10, which is kind of easy to work with when we're working with percentages. But let's look at a little bit of a harder one. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total gumballs. And the number that's shaded is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our question is, 6 of the 9 gumballs are shaded. 6 is what percent of 9? So let's reduce 6/9, and we know that 3 goes into 6 2 times and 3 goes into 9 3 times. So we're going to take this number, 2/3, and then come over here in our percent box and work it out. So we're going to multiply 2/3 times what? What goes in this box right here? If you know, go ahead and fill in that box. 100%. I can't easily reduce the 3 and the 100, so I'm not going to. I'm going to wait and do that in a minute. So I'm going to take 2 times 100 gives me 200 over 3. But now we need to make this proper, turn this improper fraction into a proper one. So we're going to divide 200 divided by 3. 3 goes into 26 times. 6 times 3 is 18. 20 minus 18 is 2. Bring down my 0. 3 goes into 26 times. 6 goes into 3, 18. 20 minus 18 is 2. I'm going to stop there. There's no more zeros to bring down. And I'm going to turn this into a fraction. I have a remainder of 2. My denominator is 3. So my answer is 66 2/3%. The question was, what is 6? 6 is what percent of 9? 6 is 66 2/3% of 9. 6 is more than half of 9, but the exact number, so we know it's more than 50%. When we look at these answers, we need to make sure, is it reasonable? And I mean, not only this is correct, but when you're working and you're not sure what the correct answer is, you can kind of ask yourself, well, is it more or less than 50%? Well, 6 is going to be more than 50% of 9, but how much more? So the answer is 66 2/3%. Let's work one more together in finding the percent, and here is our word problem. In a word problem, you might see one similar. 12 of the 30 gumballs were blue, the rest were red. What percent were blue, what percent were red? If we find one, we're going to find the other pretty easily. So let's start with the blue. What percent were blue? It says 12 out of 30. So over here in my fraction box, I'm going to say 12 out of 30. I'm going to go ahead and reduce that. 6 goes into 12 2 times. 6 goes into 30 5 times. Now I'm working with 2/5. 2/5 times 100% equals what? And I'm going to go ahead and reduce because I can. I know that 5 goes into 100 20 times, and 5 goes into 5 one time. And now it's just a simple 2 times 20 gives me 40%. Alright, so if 12 of the 30 gumballs were blue, that means what percent were blue? 40% were blue. And I can work out the problem for red, but let's just use common sense real quick. We know that 40, we're trying to get to 100%. That's when we're working with percents, we're working out of 100. So if the percent, the percent that's blue is 40%, then we know that how many more do we need from 40 to 100 is 60. The rest are red, then 60% are red. Well, let's check that. Let's make sure that that's right. If 12 of the 30 are blue, then 18 of the 30 are red. and we can reduce that. 6 goes into 18 3 times, 6 goes into 35. So now we've got 3/5 times 100 over 1, 100% over 1. Let's do our quick little reducing. 3 times 20 is 60%. Put this not at an angle. Okay, fill that in. You see that? Take those notes just in case you need to refer back to these as you work through your practice problems. Your practice problems are, I put them each in their own individual box. So the first step I want you to do is make a fraction. If it can be reduced, go ahead and reduce it, and then multiply that times 100% to get your percent. So you're going to do that, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 practice problems. I want you to pause this video and work out those practice problems, and then come back and look at the answers and see if you got them right. And if you didn't, use it as a way to work backwards and try to figure out, uh-oh, what did I do wrong? Mrs. Scheffler got this number. You know, did I write the fraction incorrectly, or did I multiply incorrectly, to kind of see where you made the mistake. Okay, so pause it, and I'll see you back here in just a minute. Bye. Nope, I see you. I'm serious. I want you to pause it. Okay, pause it and work these practice problems. All right, practice problem 1. 2 is what percent of 8? Gave you the fraction 2/8. Reduced down to 1/4. And you might have already known that in your head, that 1/4 is the same as what percent? 25%, but there's the math. If you didn't get 25%, try to see what you did wrong, what you need to do to correct it. 2 is what percent of 6? So we take these two numbers, 2 6, it gives us, we reduce it down to 1/3. 1/3 times 100%. I left out my percent sign. It's going to be a fraction. It's going to give us 33 1/3%. If you didn't have that memorized, then you needed to have done the division, which is 100 divided by 3. Gives you, when you work it out, it gives you 33. Ends up with 1 left over. Two is what percent of 5? 2/5 times 100%. I reduced it before I multiplied it. You maybe reduced it after. That's fine, as long as you got 40%. 3/10. 3/10 times 100%. Or what percent of $10 is $3. So our total amount is $10. It's just in a little bit different of an order. So we'll take the fraction that we make is 3/10, and that gives us 30%. What percent of $8 is $6? Again, that same thing, that same order. So we take 6/8, which reduces down to 3/4. 3/4 times 100%. Reduced gives us 75%. And lastly, our word problem, 10 of the 25 students are girls. What percent of the students are boys? So hopefully you didn't just stop here, 10 of the 25 students are girls. What percent are the girls? And do 10 over 25. You actually had to do a step before that. So 25 minus 10 is going to give us the number of boys. We have 15 boys out of 25. That gives us a fraction of 3/5 when we reduce that. And 3/5 times 100% gives us 60%. Alright, go back and watch this video if you have questions. And as you're working through your problem sets, feel free to put a star by some problems that you can't figure out or that you want to ask questions about, and plan to ask me those on Thursday morning at 10 o'clock. I'll put a link on my 5th grade page, and I will see you then. See you later.